Imagine being one of the fastest growing YouTube channels in history, pioneering a whole new genre of entertainment, breaking record after record, and leading the way for thousands of creators to start their careers. But no one caring about any of that, because the only thing they say when they mention your name is, "Yeah, but it's a bit cringe though." AFTV was created by Robbie Lyle in 2012. It was originally just a platform for fans to give their unfiltered opinion after games and vent frustration or joy. This quickly garnered attention from the wider football community due to the off-the-cuff and frankly passionate nature of particularly frustrated Arsenal fans. Over the years, multiple clips have gone mega viral, with many quotes now being synonymous with the channel and being used within everyday conversation for sports fans.
Time to go! We mustn't forget that it's been raining, so the pitch is quite...
It's been raining?
Yeah. My mum's Wenger in. Is she mad?
I think the problem people have with AFTV is that it's too emotional, too passionate. You see, where football fans had been used to decades of top-down analysis with ex-players and managers dominating any football discourse, giving little room for fans to have their say, without of course being ridiculed by the so-called pundits, that all changed with AFTV. Despite not being the very first football content on YouTube, Robbie's calm interviewing style juxtaposed with frankly crazy fans out on the mic, which then coupled with how poorly Arsenal were doing at certain games, created a perfect storm for clippable viral moments. I think maybe the idea of losing your mind over a football game was almost novel and became a spectacle for some, while to others it held a mirror to how they feel about sports. Either way, it struck a chord, and online football content still seems to create a divide amongst fans. But one thing's for certain, it wouldn't be what it is without AFTV. I think the biggest criticism is the idea that fans go on there with pre-made scripts just to make a spectacle, and that none of the things they say are authentic, and of course, you can get a couple of them. But if you actually watch the video, you'll see that the majority of people on there come talking about the game that just happened. So the rants can't be pre-written. I think this criticism stems from the early days, where the question of the manager was a constant talking point. So there was almost a weekly diatribe of fan cams attacking Wenger, which leads me on to... As mentioned, things hit boiling point during the Wenger out era. Arsenal by their standards were doing quite poorly, missing out on trophies for a few seasons now, and many more vocal fans blamed Arsene Wenger for that. You see, at this moment in time, it wasn't unusual to see Wenger out fans at games and hear about Wenger out after games. You can almost draw a graph between the amount of Wenger out videos that popped up on AFTV and the channel's overall popularity. This led to AFTV becoming the de facto leader of the Wenger out movement, which, as you can imagine, ruffled many feathers. You see, Arsenal was a beloved man, not just to the club, but to sport in general. This man often had rival managers and players praised, as well as being one of the driving forces in improving the quality of the Premier League in the early 2000s. And so you can kind of see why attacking this man was seen as sacrilege of the highest order. This was the time you'd regularly see fans arguing with each other, things getting heated, and all with AFTV platforming it. Skip the boring bits, but eventually Arsenal parted ways with Wenger. Externally, he left at the end of the season, but internally, it was obvious he was being let go. The crux of this, and the reason why many in the footballing space still despise AFTV, is that they see the constant bombardment of abuse and hounding out of Arsene Wenger the reason why the club sacked him. And well, it's true that AFTV had some choice words to say about him, but the reason he was sacked had nothing to do with a few fans on Arsenal Fan TV, and everything to do with the performances you saw Arsenal play in the declining years of his era. The most notable of which was finishing outside the top 4 for 2 seasons in a row. Now, there have been countless analyses of this era on YouTube, so I'll spare it. But all that's important is that he was sacked, and people blamed AFTV, despite AFTV not having anything to do with it. In summary, AFTV successfully helped kick off a whole new era of online content. It's facilitated the voicing of thousands of fans' opinions over the years, and has become a staple part of British culture, especially if you grew up in the 2010s. Not to mention the work Robbie has done behind the scenes to ensure new creators get heard. When people attack AFTV, I think they forget it was them who pioneered the idea of having fans talk about football to a wider audience. For the first time, we could see real fan sentiment on how clubs are being run, beyond the corporate and pristine lens that legacy media portrays. In a time where people's opinions are floating everywhere, not just any opinions, dangerous, hateful opinions, opinions that make you feel sick and sad and lost. Football is one of those things that can bring people together. Football is a place where anyone of all colours and creeds can sit for 90 minutes and cheer towards a common purpose, a common goal. When looked through this lens, opinions about football become just that, opinions about football. And while it's true Robbie and his crew never thought AFTV would become a Pandora's box, opening up avenues for football content around the globe, what it is, and what it always will be, is ordinary working people having their say in a football match. And I, for one, think that's kind of amazing.
Leave.
Yeah.
Mohamed Salah has the same amount of Premier League titles at Liverpool and Chelsea. 1-1. Alright, I'm done now. Let's leave.
Couple super chats before we go. That's embarrassing.
About my what? About my blood client! Yeah? My fucking brother. It's time to go! This is my season ticket. Do you know how much I pay for this shit? This is my fucking season ticket. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. Thank you to NHS. Mopo, you are an absolute disgrace. You're a cheat. I hope Brighton get relegated.
Don't blame it on Mope. Don't blame it on...
You're a cheat. You're a disgrace. I hope Brighton get relegated.
Thank you very much for watching to the end if you have. This took an age to make and has been something I've wanted to talk about for a long time. If you did enjoy and got some value out of it, please do consider liking and subscribing. More to come. Thank you and goodbye.